This is a preview of what you will find and what you will see in months to come across the country. The instability and the unrest is a feature, not a bug, of this administration. This administration, we talked about it before, and those who watched this show for some time know that I think we have appropriately x-rayed this administration from the standpoint of strategy and policy. And both those things align perfectly with creating the sorts of disturbances that allow the federal government to overstep and move into the states. And that's exactly what's happened in California. The California governor has control of the National Guard, as you know. And the California governor and the mayor of LA in this instance, they have historically, I mean, very rarely, but it does happen, they've had to reach out to the National Guard to quell various situations that have teetered on and even have encompassed violence in Los Angeles. I've been in Los Angeles news for 35 years. I've seen this city teeter on the edge. There is not chaos in Los Angeles. In downtown Los Angeles, there is serious unrest and a volatile, dynamic situation that does teeter on chaos. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that when you start sending these Waymo vehicles up in flames and police cars are being vandalized, whatever, that's no big deal. That is a very big deal. And that does have to be clapped back on hard by law enforcement. But it's not clear that the National Guard is needed. And the presence of the National Guard does further inflame things. So if you talk about bringing in the Marines, I mean, again, it's just overrunning. And the last thing I'll say on this, because you'll remember during the Trump administration season 1, when he was in his first 4 years, how he sent troops to the border to handle the caravan. Do you remember the caravan of people coming up from the south? He sent American troops, military troops, to the border during that time. And the reason I mention it is you realize in that move, once again, another military flex, they love those, the troops are a prop to him. They are a theatrical prop, and he uses them politically. The one thing you need to remember with Trump, and you know this through the readings of David K. Johnston's work, you also know it from just having experienced so much of Trump, the theater of everything is associated with the politics of everything. Politics is the most important thing with Trump, us versus them. Once the politics is taken care of, then he takes care of enriching himself and all the other transactional deals that he makes. But what I'm getting at here is that the mention of the Marines, and even in this case, the National Guard, they are props. And that's objectionable to me. These are men and women who serve, and they serve with a laudable goal to help their country at times of need. They're not here to be theatrical props for politics. And so during Trump's first term, when he sent those troops to the southern border, I called it out. I called it out for what it was. It's theater. He wants to show you how he's doing something. And there's an element, a large element of theater here. These National Guard troops, not called in by the governor, not called in by the mayor, called in by Trump, they're being used as props. And I object to that. And that's just the first part. What their presence actually does is create a problem. And we should all object to that. This is Mayor Bass from Los Angeles.
I know how busy you are preparing
I'm not a
for
Mayor
the
Bass
hours
fan,
ahead.
by the way, but I think she's
What
right,
are you
100%
expecting on
right
that
on
front?
this.
Well, I just have to say that if you dial back time and go to Friday, if immigration raids had not happened here, we would not have the disorder that went on last night. I will tell you that it is peaceful now, but we do not know where and when the next raids will be. That is the concern, because people in the city have a rapid response network. If they see ICE, they go out and they protest. And so it's just a recipe for pandemonium that is completely unnecessary. Nothing was happening here. Los Angeles was peaceful before Friday. When we find out when and where the other raids are going to happen, that will determine how the police respond.
Mayor Bassett's Wolf Blitzer here in the Situation Room as well. The state of California, as you well know, is expected to file a formal lawsuit over President Trump's deployment of the National Guard, perhaps as early as today. Your own police chief says the level of violence he's seeing in Los Angeles is, quote, disgusting. So why not welcome more boots on the ground?
No, I think the issue here is state power and state sovereignty. And so we do not believe, and what the governor is doing is separate from what's happening in the city. But what was the reason that the president had to take the power from the governor and federalize the National Guard? The night before this action was taken, there was a protest that got a little unruly. Late at night, it was 100 people. 27 people were arrested. There wasn't a reason for this. That is the concern. And if there was, the way it happens traditionally is that requests are made on the local level of the governor to send National Guard troops. No request came from the city of Los Angeles. What has happened now is an entirely different situation.
All right. That is, again, that's someone who I'm not a huge fan of necessarily, Karen Bass. But I think she's 100% right. Everything she said is 100% right. You've got the federal government coming in, bigfooting the governor of California and the Los Angeles mayor, who are not only staying quiet, not staying quiet, they're saying, don't send any troops or the National Guard to Los Angeles. We have this. This is the message they are sending. Trump sent them anyway. And this gets to the fact that the federal government is bigfooting in a state and local issue, something that supposedly is absolutely anathema, absolutely outrageous to the GOP and the right. Don't take my word for it. Take their word for it. Look at this.
The Republican governors, they all deserve credit, that stood by Governor Abbott's side. If you didn't stand with him in solidarity, I'm not sure Biden wouldn't have precipitated a real crisis
is under
down
Biden,
there.
of course.
Yeah, Sean, I went the actual day that showdown was supposed to happen. People asked me why, when I heard the news, I immediately the next day was at the border. And it was because of what I heard Democrats encouraging the president to do. They were encouraging President Biden to activate our National Guard soldiers so that they would stand down. He actually was going to take control of our South Dakota National Guard and actually activate them so that they would not protect America. So recognizing the real threat that was to states' rights and how that would be the first time in history a president would pay a soldier to not fight, to not protect our country, made me show up in Texas the next day to let Governor Abbott know I'm here. South Dakota is with you. We will defend our Constitution. We will defend our rights, because the last several years we've seen the Democrats take away our freedom of religion, our freedom of assembly, our freedom of speech. We can't let them take away our states' rights, too, especially our right to protect ourselves.
Yeah, so the states' rights thing, I guess that left the building when Trump came in. Is that what happened?
Did she hear herself?
I mean, it's insanity. It's insanity. These people only cite the Constitution. They only cite states' rights when it serves them.
Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.